This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
The aftermath of every social revolution brings about change. Cultural norms and landmarks shift as our minds and hearts expand beyond the familiar. To everything, there is a season and a time to every purpose in the land of the living. This is our time to renew, revive, and restore the hope lost to the busyness of life. This is our time to dig again and rebuild from the storms of our past on a solid footing that holds. Welcome to The Foundation.
The Foundation.
The Foundation with Hard Grant is brought to you by Alive, Burger King, Commonwealth Bank, the Deposit Insurance Corporation, Grand Bahama News, Bronze Electric Motors, and Wendy's.
The Foundation. The Foundation.
Are you ready for a miracle? Raise my hand. Are you ready for a miracle? Set you free. Are you ready? Ready. Are you ready? Ready. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant in your company. The Foundation. On this absolutely gorgeous Tuesday afternoon, live and in full effect. I am here excited about this today. Is it the coffee? I have no idea. But it is a beautiful day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here talking again with my friends. I want to be able to bring a special segment just at the top of the hour to talk about Unshakable. We did that, but before we do that, I want to talk about a few things with you guys. Make sure you pick up your Guardian newspaper. 5 nominate for by-election candidates. Urge voters to support them as nominations now official. Bain's declaration places him as richest candidate. This is absolutely bananas, right? PM. The Prime Minister FNM neglected West Grand Bahama and Bimini. And the judges rules media will not be gagged in Gibson's trial. There's some information that's there, right? 6,000 plus on the register to vote in by-election. We're going to talk about that on the second hour, talk about these particular things, and kind of dive into that. Make sure you do that. Also, you will know in the paper, Cornish pleads not guilty to charges of rape, assault, and death threats. I want to be able to say a good afternoon to all my folks out there who's actually kind of tuned in with us. Make sure you go down there and check out my friends over at AFS Insurance Agents and Brokers. They got everything laid out for you. This is the turning of the month, the top of the month here as we go into, you get prepared. I feel like you could smell the pumpkin spice in the air, all right? I'm sure that you could hear, Patty. Patty got the pumpkin cake, what was it, pumpkin pie? She got the whole thing laid out for you right now. I know that you're excited about that and you're moving towards Thanksgiving, but before you do that, make sure you get your car insured. Make sure you get everything laid out because Operation Secure City is real. You won't want to get your car towed and whatnot. Make sure you get yourself insured. Check them out. Check my good friends, Ethric Bro, over at AFS Insurance Agents and Brokers. They'd be more than happy to assist you. Give them a call, 341-1-AFS, 341-1-AFS. I call my good, decent cousin. This is my adopted cousin. I kind of took him in. My good, decent cousin, Alan Butler. He is definitely located on Blue Hill Road on the northern side, just east of Wesley Methodist Church right there. Milo B. Butler and Sons, you know him. Milo Butler Mart. You can be able to get in there, get your great packages, protein packages. I keep telling you about the protein packages. I want you to understand that this is a great package in preparation to be able to move in a particular direction. So you want to do that and want to get these things done, right? So go and check that out. We're getting into the Christmas season. I got to call Alan to see whether or not he gets some ham and turkey, right? You ever hear the people, they pronounce it with a TH? Turkey. Make sure you go down there and get those things taken care of in preparation, not only for the season that we're in, but definitely in preparation for the Christmas season. I know that's when we do a great deal of our celebration. All your children coming home, so this is definitely what we want to do and kind of put those things down. So that's that. I want to be able to be as decent as possible as we talk about those things. and have you guys kind of get prepared for something. Now, when I was locked up abroad, right? is it too much? I think it's too much, right? When I was in Hong Kong, we did a show with my very good friend, Dr. Eldon Johnson, and he was preparing for an event. And I'm very excited to talk about the event. And I wanted to kind of give him I give you the background of it. If you were listening to the show, we gave the background. We talked about the concept and the idea. I think we did it on a Small Business Thursday. That's the show that I had to play on Friday because I had issues with the Wi-Fi in the airport. But we had to play that show on Friday. But now he's here in studio with me today. He said, "Boy, I see you since you came from Hong Kong. I say I alive and well. Praise Jesus," right? So we're here. We're putting these things down. And I want him to introduce himself and his beautiful, lovely wife, Lydia Johnson. She is here, Dr. Lydia Johnson. She's here also with us. And we have on the Zoom none other than Ricardo Luna, who is going to be the focal point of what this is all about. I want you to introduce yourself to the listening audience out there.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Dr. Eldon Johnson, and I'm here with my beautiful wife.
Of 36 years. You have to be as decent as possible.
Yes.
As men.
Yes, sir.
As men. Because you know when you go home later anyway, you could have seen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right, so you're going to say that, right? Introduce yourself to the people. Let them know exactly who you are.
Yes, good afternoon, listening audience. Dr. Lydia Johnson, Vice President of IJOMI.
Well, I'm so happy to have you. I mean, the last time we had a conversation, we talked about this event that you're going to be having. For the purposes of this conversation, just remind persons what's going to be happening from November 9th to the 11th, from 8:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then 6:30 p.m. to 9 p.m., 9:30. Talk to them about what's going to be happening.
Yes, Brother Harold, beginning November 9th, which is Thursday, all road lead to Bahamas Faith Ministries International. This is where we're asking all of those who are mission-minded to gather there because we have a lot of work to do. Okay, we have renowned speakers going to be coming in, and of course, Ricardo Luna, who has a lot to share. He will also be a part of this roundtable discussion in which I'm sure that the public will be interested in hearing what he has to offer. So we have speakers from local and also international will be shared during the conference.
Well, I want to get to this because I'm looking at this kind of a bio, this layout. He's a ministry. He's the director of the church. As a Transformation World Global Mobilizer, the president and the executive director of CONI. Got all the information in there, a Latin World Director, a Latin American Director. He has a great deal of accolades attached to what he does, right? He's a resident of Fort Lauderdale, citizen of Ecuador. He's a family man. He's been doing a great deal for a long time. And I want to talk to him because I've heard so much about, it feels like I know him already because Dr. Johnson is always says, "Howard, listen, you got to be able to have a good conversations with Ricardo Luna. You got to talk to Ricardo Luna." I think he's definitely the man to be able to talk about these things. I want to introduce to the listening audience out there none other than Ricardo Luna. Mr. Luna, how you doing, my brother? How is things?
Hey, wonderful. Thank you. It is so good to be connected with you in Bahamas.
Absolutely, absolutely. So introduce yourself. Let persons know who you are, where you are, and what you've been doing over the course of time.
Well, my name is Ricardo Luna. I'm from Ecuador. My wife is from Colombia. We both live now in the United States. I kind of say we're global believers because one of my daughters with 3 grandkids lives in Spain. 2 others live out of state. So, the world is now local and global. And just like missions is, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Anyways, wonderful to be with you.
I'm happy to have you. What have you been doing over the course of time? Like I said in sort of the opening, Dr. Johnson has been telling me so much about you, that you've been feeding so many persons, that you've been doing outreach, that you've been touching so many lives. And now you're going to be coming to the Bahamas to be a part of this Unshakable, this conference, which is also sort of a workshop also, right?
Yes,
that's going to be able to do these things, right? So talk to me about what our expectations can be from you during this particular time.
Well, first of all, thank you. And I think, Eldon, so good to hear you and hopefully to see you both and others soon. For the last, for my first 25 years of ministry, I was involved with a guy named Brother Andrew. He was called God's Smuggler. He used to smuggle Bibles into Russia and a whole different era. So I did that for 25 years. The Lord allowed me to go to 70 countries of the world and just see, if you will, what love looks like in the front lines, what persecution looks like, and how the sovereignty of God is just above anything that man and our tendency to not obey God or what the evil world will do. You know, God is just so sovereign above all. For 10 years, I was with Next Generation Ministry, a ministry called One Hope. In the midst of it, I became president of the Evangelical Alliance of Latin America and also of Transform World and 414 movements. I helped in Latin America, and I'm now a global leader for Transform World. But the feeding, you know, we have to feed in spirit, in soul, in body. With Food for the Poor as a primary partner, we are looking now to see how do we connect with God's dream in Bahamas for the poor. The first words of Jesus upon his return are in Matthew 25. So how do we obey the first words of Jesus when he returns, when he asks us, what did you do with the poor, the foreigner? What did you do with the least, the last, and the lost, if you will? So hopefully I want to discover what God's been doing in Bahamas. And I'll get that from you and from the speakers and from the believers we share with. You know, we'll have a sense God has a purpose both individually, as families, but also as nations. So what does the national transformation of Bahamas look like? And the Lord's given us a united vision for all Latin America leaders from representing the 500,000 churches, Protestant evangelical churches in Latin America. God gives us a united dream, and I'll be sharing this dream. And I can summarize it in this. God has a dream. God has a team. And now what a privilege to meet the Bahamas team. And third of all, God has a process. So I think this is what we'll be discovering together these next few days.
Mm-hmm. I want to know from you, is the core of what you do evangelical? Or do you evangelize? And tell me about what does that mean in this dispensation? I feel like most of us who are probably older than 35, maybe 40 years old, have an idea, an inkling of what evangelism meant or means, but not necessarily in this kind of a dispensation, in this era. Some things have shifted and changed. Tell me about what does that mean right now?
You know, that's a really good question. And as a matter of fact, we refer to it as whole life evangelism. Because, you know, sometimes we say, I'm interested in souls, and to evangelize literally means to share the gospel, to share the good news. But then you also not only share the gospel, you obey the gospel, and that's discipleship. So what we call whole life evangelism encompasses, for instance, how about if we give the word of God with the manna for the day? Let's evangelize with social help. Evangelize. Now, listen, I'm not talking about feeding programs. It's a different. But let's evangelize. Let's evangelize with manna and with God's word, because we're going to the poor. And the person is much more than just a soul. It's spirit, soul, and body. Our soul is our mind, our will, our emotions. So we need to evangelize the whole being. Mm-hmm. We call this whole life evangelism. Mm-hmm. But, and I'm just going to give you one insight of what we'll be sharing about. We want to evangelize. In Latin America, there's 304 million people that live in poverty. That's almost 1 out of every 2. It doesn't seem like it sometimes. Sometimes their lives are comfortable and we think, oh, others can make it if they work, but it's not this way. So we want to share good news with manna for the day with everyone, but this is the key. The Lord has led us into a vision of transforming 2,033 communities out of poverty by 2033. We want to discover which ones will be in Bahamas, but not only that, how will Bahamas work in the Caribbean? You know, how about in Cuba? How about helping us in the mainland from the islands? So we want to discover and connect all the places that God has already dreamt to connect, so that we can bring transformation. Transformation starts with the gospel, but then it must also encompass not only to hear the gospel, but to obey the gospel. That's discipleship. Mm-hmm. That's leadership training. And then it means going out and serving. So we call this whole life evangelism. And we have a program the Lord's developed over the last 40 years that have given us communities that come out of poverty. It's exciting to see that.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to know from you, how do you kind of assess this? How do you make this determination? What is the data
the approach that you take to identify what is an impoverished or poverty community. Made that kind of a determination for 304 million persons in poverty in the Latin America community.
Thank you for your very insightful and important questions. When we look at different measurements, the first measurement is a measurement of extreme poverty. Now, globally, extreme poverty is measured by anyone that makes an average of less than $1.90 a day. That is extreme poverty. Of those, we have 56 million. And second of all, there's something called multidimensional poverty. There's different dimensions of poverty. So in a household of 5, 2 of the kids will die because there is no health care for them. And this is like when you average it out in the continent. 1 or 2 out of the 4 kids can go to school. One of the daughters normally has to stay and help at home, and one of the sons has to go out and work the fields or anything just for survival. And you don't have your floor is dirt, your roof is maybe tin or cardboard. You don't have assets, you don't have education. So this is called multidimensional. Those are 248 million. So that means that 304 million, 1 out of every 661,000 million rather in Latin America and the Caribbean united, face poverty. So since the first question of Jesus when he returns is going to be, what did you do with the poor? All of us Matthew 28 Christians, when I share, I'm going to be sharing Matthew 28. I am passionate about sharing and fulfilling the Great Commission. Mm-hmm. But the question to us is, the first words of Jesus in Matthew 25 upon his return is, what did you do with the least of these? And I think this encounter we're having is going to help advance that. And I love it. The unshakable direction of God's answer to our time. Because I like what you said. What does it mean for our time?
Yeah, because things have shifted. One of the things, I've had this conversation before, from the outside looking in, especially when we have an opportunity to be able to travail the world and we can be able to access these things and recognize our own personal comfort and still be able to ascend to a position for self-actualization. We look at others and say, wow, you guys are living in poverty, you're living in an impoverished position. But many times, persons in those positions don't even recognize it. They're content, they're comfortable, they're just fine with that. So how do you now enlighten them and open their minds to understand that the possibilities to exist, to be able to thrive, goes far beyond that? Do you also accompany the possibility of being able to move and ascend on the social ladder with the Word of God? How do you do this can I call it a new age evangelism? How do we do this evangelism to be able to get people to understand, okay, so there's more for you to do from a physical position, and spiritually there's also more for you?
Mm-hmm. And I just want you to know that we work and we serve everyone, the poor. We don't see if they're Protestant, if they're evangelical, other denominations, even other faiths. As a matter of fact, we're part of a global movement present in 7,800 communities today. As of today, our goal for 2033 is 10,000, of which 2,033 will be from Latin America. So the way that we engage us is, first we serve everyone. That means we serve in places that are Muslim. We serve in places that are Hindu. We serve in places of different continents, different languages, different culture. We serve everyone because God loves everyone. Yeah. So now, but we serve our community just like our families, a community of families through the local church. We serve through the church because it is there's 5 million of them worldwide, 500,000 in Latin America. So this is we call it the Community Transformation Center. Can be. Not that it is, but it can be the local church. And I think, to your point, this is what we must ascend to. We must ascend to this opportunity, to this possibility of being a community that transforms our community, regardless of what faith or lack of faith people there have. But, we're clear. We do share the gospel, but we also develop communities, and that includes water, and that includes homes, and that includes building out different parts of the community But we do it in a way, and this is important, that's sustainable. If you don't do help right, help can cause dependency. And our goal is to break the cycle of generating, break that cycle. And you know, there's many places where a lot of help has come. Now, there's a hurricane, there's an earthquake, and you all know hurricanes in Bahamas very well.
Yes.
Yeah, let's come in and let's do what needs to be done. But in order to get people out of poverty, you have to break the cycle of generational poverty. That means freeing the mind. That means education is important. Evangelism is important, yes, we share our faith, but we also educate. All the communities we've been in where we've experimented, it's been a 40-year experiment that we believe the Lord is about to put on steroids. We're going to be more, what would be the word, contagious than COVID. We're going to be great contagious because God has a dream. And in terms of poverty, it's to transform poverty. And we say this, when you encounter Jesus in the poor, we are both transformed. You know, it's not that we go do that for them. You just alluded to, how is it that you can go to a place and these people seem to have what we would consider nothing, but they're content or they're happy, you know, or they have a patience that we don't even have in one day. They have it in a week or a year.
Yeah.
So I think the encounter is important because then we both encounter each other and we both grow in a whole life sense. You know, we grow emotionally and spiritually, intellectually, through the mind, and the whole person and the whole community. The idea is, let's transform communities.
I love this. I love this conversation, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're following. Ricardo, you said some stuff that really kind of stepped out to me. I want to take this commercial break before we get back and talk about a few things. But to talk about the church as a community center, to be able to identify those things, I want to know whether or not how you transform the concept of being able to put a label on church, to talk about the holistic transformation of a man. I want to know whether or not there has been evolution, whether it be in the Latin American community, whether it be in other spaces and places you've traveled, whether there's been an evolution to understand the different times that we're in, to be able to call sheep might look different. Foundationally, they're the same sheep, proverbial sheep, but they're looking a little bit different. How do you get them into the four walls, into the concept, into the idea that there's more for you than just this superficial aspect? We're going to talk about this. Guys, I'm here with none other than Dr. Eldon Johnson, Dr. Lydia Johnson, and Ricardo Luna talking about Unshakable. It's going to be November 9th to 11th. We're going to get into these things. Let me take this quick commercial break and be right back after this.
At Wendy's, we are different. We don't just use beef. It's fresh, never frozen. Our burgers are square because we never cut corners. Served hot off the grill with fresh lettuce, tomatoes, onions, and American cheese. We believe in fast food done right. Always serving fresh, never frozen beef. Order a hot, juicy Dave single, double, or triple. Made with fresh, never frozen beef. Now only at Wendy's. Different inside and out.
Let me ask you a few questions. What's your name?
Pam.
Favorite food?
Steak.
Beer or wine?
Wine.
Is your money safe?
It's under my bed, so I guess so.
Are you serious?
Yeah, why?
Unless your money is in a bank or credit union that's a member of the Deposit Insurance Corporation, there's no guarantee it's safe.
Yeah, but what if something happens to the bank?
Your Bahamian dollar deposits are insured up to $50,000, so you'd still be ahead. Plus, your mattress might catch fire. Then what?
Man, those banks and credit unions are looking good right about now.
Visit the DIC's website at www.dic.bs. Protection for your money, guaranteed with DIC.
$90,000 in prizes. You could win. A live business, ultimate business makeover. Sign up or upgrade for Business in a Box for your chance to enter to win the ultimate business makeover or a new Jack Electric SUV from Easy Car Sales. Go green and win. Thousands in other prizes to be won. Sign up or upgrade for Business in a Box today. A live business, ultimate business makeover. For more details, call 601-8911 in Nassau or 602-8811 in the Family Islands.
If you're looking for a burger that is 100% flame grilled beef and comes with all the fixings you love, nothing beats the classic Whopper from BK. So, how do you make this classic flame grilled Whopper from Burger King better? You double it. With double the cheese and double the bacon, this sandwich can fill any appetite. Introducing the Double Whopper from Burger King that is so big and delicious that the only way to make it better is to make it a combo. Try the new Double Whopper at Burger King Nassau, where taste is king.
Guardian Radio and the Foundation are on the move.
Bahamas, this one's for you.
SBT, Small Business Thursdays. Every Thursday, the Foundation with Howard Grant will highlight small businesses throughout the country, far and wide. Your products, services, prices, and personality. We want to hear it all. Get your 30 or 60-second advertisement heard on air at a fraction of the cost. We here at the Foundation understand the times and don't want you to be left behind. With our radio, you reach your specific demographic, and it is unmatched.
We reach thousands daily.
Get your products off the shelf and your services in their hearts. Small Business Thursdays with the Foundation, only on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. For more information, call 302-2300 or the Help Me Howard line at 827-0111. SBT. Small Business Thursdays. Get your business moving today.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
I'm unshakable, I'm unmovable, I'm untakeable, I'm unbreakable. Yeah, I'm unshakable, I'm unmovable, I'm untakeable, I'm unbreakable.
I like it, ladies and gentlemen. Unshakable, 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant and your company, the Foundation, live in full effect. Being able to chop these things down. Got a special segment laid out for you. In the studio with us today is none other than Dr. Eldon Johnson, Dr. Lydia Johnson. She's here with us. Both of them are here with us, being able to talk about this event that's going to be happening between November 9th and 11th, 2023, over at BFM, Bahamas Faith Ministries International Church. I think you got a few sessions there. A morning session from 8:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then you have another session from 6:30. Is this every day? Talk to me about it, Eldon.
Yes, yes, Howard. The session start at 9, not 8:30.
Okay.
So just a correction. The 8:30 on Thursday. So everybody going to come there on Thursday morning. 8:30.
9 a.m.
9 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and in the afternoon we take a break. We go from 9 to 2. And then we can take a break, and then we come back at 6:37 p.m. Now, in the day, there will be a lot of sessions going on. These people...
So you got like breakout sessions?
Yes,
and workshops or something like that?
And workshops going on. So we have 4 nations going to be representing here. We have the Bahamas, the Philippines, Haiti, and America. They are the 4 nations going to be talking about this mission and evangelism, all right? And then later in the night, that's where we'll be sharing our platform, and I'll be speaking as well on during that event. So what we want, we are inviting all of the mission-minded persons in our country. Come over, signed up, come over. Ricardo Luna. Ricardo has a lot to offer. In fact, as far as food, water, and clothing, he has that information. I remember during Hurricane Dorian, right, when he came, when he saw that the storm was just sitting there, he called me and he said, Eldon, he said, can you take 10, 40 foot of food? Because that's what they push. They push a lot
10, 40 foot trailers?
Trailers.
Wow.
Right. That's what they push. They push it all around the world to help people in poverty. And that is why I am so close to this organization, because this is what I do in the Bahamas as well, on a smaller scale. I go into the community and everything, and we feed and we clothe and we give people water. That's the ministry right there. And what is happening now, Howard, the church need to move a little closer to the people in the community. I remember when I was in Yellow Elder, there were about 3 men just released from prison. 3 men, they just released. And they came to the event. And when I saw them, they told me, hey, I just got out of prison. I told my people, I said, allow them to go in, get as much as they want. And then I have to take them over, let them eat as much as they want. That's the ministry. And that's what we are pushing. We want people to come, sign up, and attend, meet Ricardo Luna, meet all of our speakers, and everybody be ready for that.
Ricardo, we also got you here. I know we got just 10 minutes before we can be able to get out of here, but I want to be able to get a few things from you. When we start to talk about mission, I only remember my mother went on a mission right here in the country when I was a child, as a little boy. I think she went to Acklands or something like that, right? She was thick in the church, and she was doing her thing. But this mission was peculiar to me. She was draped in all white, right? So she went on the mission dressed in all white, and she was going to Acklands. I was indifferent about it because I knew the access that we had to the world and locally. And then I started to think about missions as a child. I was a young child then. Mm-hmm. I started to think about missions in this way that, are these people not aware of God in Acklands? Or are these people not aware, as a child, as just a child, are they not aware of what is happening and the church? Is there no church there? Talk to me about the evolution of the evangelists. If you could be able to kind of surmise that for me. How did this evangelism evolve in the time that we live in right now? And how does it look being able to touch those lives today?
Well, first of all, thank you for your questions. I heard that this is smart radio. It definitely is. So I appreciate your question. Indeed, we envision it this way. I'm part of a movement called Transform World. And we envision that when we think of a church and we think of a building with a steeple, that the church is actually 2 or 3 gathered in the name of Jesus. It's people. And these people, they are sometimes in a family setting, in a local church setting, but we view that the church is actually, yes, with family, yes, in the church community, but also in government, in education, in communications. This is a missionary medium. So the church is not limited to the 4 walls. As a matter of fact, I got to be clear. Our goal is to get people out of the 4 walls.
I'm listening to you, and I just told Dr. Johnson that you haven't said church yet. You started to talk about it as a community transformation center. It hasn't. I'm not using the traditional anchor words that most within the body of Christ could be able to run into towards and say, okay, I recognize that, I recognize that.
And we respect the places people go worship. But in mission means going out. It doesn't mean staying in. I love a building I was in called the local church, every local church. And on the exit sign, it always says exit. It said, you are entering the mission field. And this is what we want. So we see that quote unquote church in the family setting. But we also see it in communications, in government, in education, in arts, culture, sports. That's everywhere. So all those places, my son is a scientist. So he is, if you will, a point of light in the world of science. Sometimes my friends that, when are you going to come back to the told them, go out and be a light there. So I think that's our goal in missions. And the other one is, we not only come, some people call them the 7 spheres, the 7 mountains. There's different names we give to this, but every place of influence of culture, and we go and we call them the 7 challenges. I'll be sharing specifically on the poverty challenge, but we have a challenge of creation care. We have missional challenges in the garden with the unreached people groups. In the city, 82% of Latin America is urban. In the cloud, because I tell people that the discipler of our children is something called, a phone or a tablet. It's not the first time God used a tablet. He did it with Moses. Well, now it's a digital tablet. So, when we envision mission, the world has changed, and we have to go to where this world is. So I really don't. I see people talking to Johnson, Dr. Lydia Johnson's place as a place of gathering. It's an important, but our goal and our agenda is unshakable. Let's get out of here. Amen. And let's do transformation together. And yes, the church is and can be, has not always been, but can be the Community Transformation Center.
This is extremely exciting, my brother. I want to thank you so very kindly for being able to join me today to talk about this. So your emphasis will be able to talk about the poverty challenge. Is that going to be the anchor of your conversation?
That will be the anchor. Yes,
okay,
sir.
I like this. So the poverty challenge, I want you out there, if you're listening in and you want to be able to participate in Unshakable, I told you for a long time now that Dr. Eldon Johnson is a true friend. I've known him over 10 years here, and he is always relentlessly talking about how he wants to be able to do mission persons, whether locally or whether internationally, globally, who are in a deprivated or impoverished position. And he's doing just that. We're sitting here in 2023. We've had this conversation since I moved to Nassau in 2012, 2013, and we're still here moving these things. I want to be able to commend you, commend your wife, commend your family, commend all those persons that continue to be able to build this, and commend that seed in you that you nourished over the years. My brother, continue to do great things. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to join this. November 9th to the 11th.
Bahamas Faith Ministries.
Bahamas Faith Ministries from 9 a.m. on a Thursday. It's going to be breakout sessions. If you are into missions, if you are into this evolved concept, not the traditional kind of, I don't want to be an evangelist. And that's why I had to ask these questions, because me have this kind of an entrapped mindset that should I wear all white and keep my hair wrapped to go talk to people? Or is evangelism more kind of evolving? And we've heard today from Ricardo Luna that evangelism has morphed, molded, and kind of changed to be able to adapt and deal with the time and the era that we're in right now. I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful to have this kind of an opportunity to talk about it. And I want you to participate. November 9th to the 11th, 2023, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then you're going to have a couple breakout sessions. And then another one is at 6:30 p.m.?
6:30 to
6:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. It's going to be for 2 days. Make sure you register. Make sure you register. Visit the site. It's called Ejomi Bahamas, EJOMI Bahamas.org/unshakable. It's going to be $100 registration. Registration only, $150 registration with lunch and dinner. You can have more information. Is there a like a social media site you can be able to get it on, Facebook or something like that?
Yes, they can go Ejomi Connect. Ejomi Connect, they can go on Facebook. But Howard, I also want to add to that feel free to call Bahamas Faith Ministries International. Okay, and you can just leave a message there for me if you want to join us. And the number there is 461-6400. You can just call, let us know you want to be a part of it, how to sign up. Just let us know. And Howard, I want to refer quickly to you just talk about your mummy. Your mother was used to wear this white dress or something like that.
Yeah.
Listen to me.
When she did the evangelism.
Right. Missionaries have a trademark. When you move into the, you don't see that anymore. So think about that.
Wow, things are changing.
Things are changed. That means the missionaries are just moving out, and nobody is filling in. What Ejomi is doing this weekend, we have introduced a millennial platform for young people to come out and to hear what the Lord is saying. We have young people coming in from Wisconsin, Tampa. These are young millennials. We even invite part of the government system, the schools, to be there, the Generation Y and whatever the government. They are sending young people there so they can understand, right, what mission and evangelism, how can they be involved to do mission work in the school.
This is an amazing thing that you're doing, my brother. And Ricardo Luna, I'd love to meet you, man. I want to thank you so very kindly for being able to put light, and because you caused me to envision what you're doing in Latin America. You caused me to envision that this is not just casually waiting for an offering pan to go around, that you're touching people, touching lives, and you're being able to transform them right where they are. I want to be able to thank you for that and your contribution to the body of Christ, to be able to see evolution, growth, and development right where we are. You're a good and decent man. I thank you, my brother.
Thank you, and thank you for this transforming interview.
Thank you. I do appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be November 9th to the 11th, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., 6:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. Miles Monroe Center, you know exactly where it is, at Bahamas Faith Ministries. Give them a call. If you want to be able to be a part of this, if you're in all hip to all, call 461-6400, 461-6400. You can be able to do that, and you can be able to get those things done. Well, you know what we have to do now. I want to thank you all again. If you want to put something else on the table before we get out of here.
No, we just want to thank you, Howard, and I just want to say all of those who will be registering for the event, they have an opportunity to travel with us in Latin America and also the Philippines and Haiti. They once they get this training, get this information, they can
actually go on a mission.
Yes, sir. This is what it is.
Training.
We are now giving them the practical experience after the lesson.
This is crazy.
Okay, everyone. It doesn't matter what organization you at. You can travel with.
And they ain't got to be draped in white.
They ain't got to be draped in white.
Well, this is a wonderful thing. I thank you guys so very kindly. Guys, please find out more information. If you want me to send you one, I can send you the flyer and everything. That's going to be this weekend over at Bahamas Faith Ministries. And they got everything down there. Go down there and meet Ricardo Luna. They got great speakers that's going to be laid out also. Dr. Patrick Roll, Dr. Michelle Nicole, Evangelist Brian Welder, Dr. Jean Hyder Pettifree, and also Dr. Sean McKinsey and Prophet Braxton Bow. They got a great deal of speakers. Most definitely, you can be able to see one of the panelists, Ricardo Luna. All there's on the flyer. If you want to see this, hit me up, 827-0111. I thank you for this opportunity to be able to talk about this. I thought it was a great interview, great time to be able to be together. And when you do this again, you got to give me a call. Amen?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Amen?
I will try to make an arrangement for you.
You got to even try.
I will make an arrangement for
Praise God. That's all I got to do.
to meet Evangelist Luna.
Okay. Guys, we're going to take this commercial break, get to news, and be right back after this.
I'm unmovable, I'm untakeable, I'm unbreakable. Yeah, I'm unshakable. I'm unmovable, I'm untakeable, I'm unbreakable. I'm unshakable. I'm unmovable, I'm untakeable, I'm unbreakable. This time, next year, we will not be in the same spot. Unrecognizable, cause he done got you through a whole lot. You undividable, they couldn't touch you with a whole plot. Nobody's stopping you. You could be the greatest, you could beat the odds, you are royalty. I decree, I declare that nothing they throw is destroying me. I was a stranger, God went and took me in when they avoided me. When they totaled me. Man, he put me right back together when he got a hold of me. So don't let him break you. Don't let him change you. No matter who, they cannot save you. You got the victory. Everything that you do succeed. And you got a chance to make the whole world believe. You just gotta breathe.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant and your company, The Foundation, right here on this absolutely gorgeous November 7th. If you are celebrating a birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. And you look like a monkey and you smell like one too. I just want to be... I want to be as decent as possible. Listen, guys, it's a beautiful day. Be a part of the conversation. There's a couple of things I'm going to get into today. And CNU, you need to stop it. Your indecency is it is frothing up. It's bubbling over, right? I'm looking at his Facebook page, and he's saying Bishop Ricardo Grant only have $8,000 some dollars of the church money saved. Y'all need to stop it. Oh my God, you need to stop it. I want to talk. I like these conversations, you know. Sometimes I smile and I got my little cardigan sweater on. I feel like Mr. Rogers in the house, right? And I realize as I do introspection how much I really love what I do. And then I kind of imagine, especially when I have an opportunity to talk to people locally and internationally, and I engage them and I engage pockets of their mind that they didn't expect. People just come on the radio and expect to kind of hit you with the traditional rhythm of so many interviews, right? So they hit you with the talking points. It's not that they don't have anything else to say. It's that this is what you say on the radio. Traditional radio, bop, bop, bop. But I like to kind of push it just a little bit more. I want to know more because I have entrapped in my mind an idea of possibly what you do. So for clarity, and if other persons are listening in, for clarity, tell us what you do, right? Tell us about these things. And I'm really grateful for an opportunity to be able to, that y'all allow me. Because you didn't have to allow me. You allow me an opportunity to sit here and have this kind of a conversation. It's only me and the mic. I don't think about a million of y'all listening, 100,000. I only think about me and the mic and the kind of questions I think you would want to hear, right? And if you have any other questions, you can be able to hit me up. I want to take that kind of a same perspective, and I want you to give me that grace, give me that access and opportunity to talk about these things. That's why I can't take jobs in different spaces and places. I can't. I did it already. I can't. I can no longer give my entity who is for profit. Like this concept and idea of capitalism at the forefront. Now, you got to make money at what you do. But it cannot be at the sake of just merely being a voice without conviction. Merely being a voice and a silhouette of a human being rather than being able to understand the substance of a community. And that's one of the issues that I have. I have an issue with the fact that so many persons who ascend to public office does so in a position where they provide you the surface and never carry depth with them. Never carry, so many persons, they talk with this kind of an idea of conviction and they present themselves like, I'm convicted, I believe in these things. And when they step into these spaces, it's nothing. Now, people, they often say, Howard, you are idealistic. You are naive to believe that you are separate and apart and not necessarily a part of a system. There is a system. There is that you should follow. I'm reading a book now. My wife was talking to someone, right, and saying to them, a young girl, that you are addicted to TikTok. And all you're doing is relentlessly consuming. So I said, baby doll, let's watch TikTok. I said, but I don't just consume. I'm looking for information actively. I'm looking for different songs, different ideas and concepts that I could present to my listening audience. Me and her talking now. She said, I know. I said, as a result of TikTok, this is what I've learned. I'm reading books. I'm pursuing different things. I'm talking about different concepts. I said, because I want information that I can feed the wider population, the public. And so I found out this book. It's called The Fourth Turning. That's what the book was called. You remember we started to talk about this maybe 3 days ago? The book's called The Fourth Turning. It started to talk about how in every society, more specifically, it has a concentration out of America, right? But in every 20 to 25 years, there is a shift, and those 4 shifts is called a secular. A secular translated is called a century. My God, this is so heavy. And every 25 years, there is an awakening of a group of people, this demographic of people who decide to move this community in a particular direction. Then I also I downloaded a book by the gentleman by the name of John Hope Bryant. That's his name. He's a black entrepreneur out of the United States of America. I think he's in Atlanta, right? I already didn't write this man. I tell him I want to interview him. I have literally already written him and said I'd like to interview him. Because I got into this kind of a rabbit hole. He started to talk about how it only takes 5% of a community to be able to shift it. It doesn't take 50%, 35%. It only takes 5% of a community. 5% of the Bahamas is 20,000 people. It takes 20,000 of us to change this country. It didn't say 20,000 people who are committed to one political organization. It didn't say 20,000 people who are in a specific church. It only takes 20,000 people to change this country. 20,000 people who are present, who are committed, who are observant, who are relentless, and being able to step in their convictions to change this. Now, that could be for good or for bad. And as I absorb this information, I say, well, 13,000 people voted for the DNA. 8,000 people voted for the FNM. There are scores of people who continue to go against the status quo, but no one's unifying their effort to get to a greater place for growth and development for the country. There are relentless pockets of persons speaking in silos about what needs to happen. And then I keep asking myself, is there a barrier that causes us not to get together? Is that a political barrier? Is that an economic barrier? Is that a religious barrier? What is that sort of a veil that exists between the subsectors of people that stops them from actually unifying and clasping hands to get to one objective. And I don't know whether or not that's our social conditioning that says, okay, we've been conditioned to always pursue things as an individual. Conditioned that our liberation, our liberty, our independence, our strength, our happiness will come with an individual pursuit. And I feel like that's such a lie. It's bananas. I feel like if we really do a proper assessment, because I'm listening to the book. I'm listening, driving my truck, and deep thought, listening to this book. And the contrast between linear time, which is just straight, which is the start and the finish, and secular or circular time, with a very clear understanding that time evolves, that things happen again. And conditioning from North America and the Western world has said to us, there is a start and a finish, this linear time. That nothing else exists in this space. That the people that before us didn't matter, and the people after us don't matter. And the only thing that we're consumed with is this start date, which is our birthday, and the idea of whenever our death day comes. And what can we do in this time? We have become divided as a society. We have. We've become divided as a society and not giving thought to the fact that there is something bigger here for all of us. We're losing our identity. We're losing our position. We give our autonomy and strength for growth and development in our country over to men and women who are unsure of themselves, unsure of their families, and they only have enough time in their 5-year span to see if they could be able to elevate on this Maslow hierarchy theory towards self-actualization. They only have enough time, 5 years. They only have enough time to hope to God to find themselves in a better financial position. And then the next time for the poor. I can't even get no amen. They only have enough time to pursue their selfish agenda. And this is survival. We are relentlessly in a survival mode in this country. And I feel globally, we just got learned some stats that 304 million people are in poverty. 304 million people in Latin America are in poverty. And I dare say many of them don't even know it. And that's why I wanted to know, is this just an assessment that based upon your comforts and other people is $1.90 right off the top? Right off the top, I say this is an American thing. I didn't want to get deep into it. I say, oh, okay, this must be an American thing. If you identify the currency in American money, then this entire thing must be an American thing. But to identify the fact that people are impoverished and living in a certain position and a certain state, how can we help? I think we can do more. I think we were better off as a sleeping fishing village that used to hold Asu, that your talented son, who was a good mason, could help throw some brick, that you could go from here down to these people or that people and credit this. And I think we were better off as a community during that time. I think the introduction of this idea of democracy has caused us to deteriorate to a point of unrecognizable. I think we're absolutely unrecognizable. If our forefathers who have passed on were to see us now, they wouldn't know what they're looking at. If they were to see a panoramic view of who we are as a society, the way that we have become self-indulged, the way we've rejected the idea of supremacy. And I always have to be decent when I do this because I can't say God. I can't say God. I can't say Jesus to you. Well, Howard, people don't believe. See. So let's be decent. how we have rejected the idea of supremacy, that we have become consumed with the idea that it's only us, that the start and the end is only, so much so that you ain't even checking for your children. I think it's wild. I think it's wild. And that's just one of the things that my mind has taken me into. It causes this kind of a spiraling thing, and I go down this rabbit hole and I read books and I try to find out more and more about this mindset, whether or not this is a spirit, whether or not this is just the time, the generation that we live in, whether or not I could have this expectation that things will change. And as I get deeper into the fourth turning, I realize that it's going to get worse before it's going to get better. But it will get better. Hard times make for hard men and survivors. Those hard men and survivors make for a softer generation, because we, the softer generation, create hard times. This is the cycle. And it starts all over. And so the question I have is, what dispensation are we in as a people? What dispensation are we in? The hard men are gone. Are we the softer generation? Or was our fathers the softer generation which created the hard times that we live in now? I think it's bananas. We have to wake up as a people. A lot of these things makes no sense, what we're doing. We seek to do this as individuals. We seek to do this in our own space and believe that we can do this. You know what's funny is that we've grown with this idea that no man is an island. On an island. As islanders, an island people, we seek to create other islands on the island. Many of us are islands on an island and don't even understand the necessity to connect. I think this is bigger than us, guys. And I just want to let you know that I believe wholeheartedly in the Bahamian people. Without this microphone, I say this. Without ever having an opportunity to be able to sit here and speak to you, I say this. I believe in you. I believe in you, honest to God. With everything that I have in me, I believe in you. We got to get over some little superficial stuff. But I believe that we have the strength to change this country. And I believe that we have given our strength. We have given our strength to men and women who don't carry our convictions, their exploits, and their pursuit globally. Are you really calling me? Oh. Well, you know you got to call on the radio. I could take your call. Just call on the radio. Call on the radio. I will take your call. Call on the radio. I'll take your call. Right? I can't take your call on the cell phone. I know you could hear me. You need to stop it, right? Our exploits locally has placed us in this kind of a position. I think we could do more. I think we could do better. And I just want you to know that if no one tells you, I love you. I love you guys, man. Every single one of y'all, from your crooked teeth, your gold teeth, your indifferent approach to what you believe service is, your sharp tone, your horrible posture, all of these things, I want you to know that I believe in you. I went to school with y'all. Every single one of you, I know you. And I believe that we can be a better country if we remember our strength, remember our community, and work towards something that's bigger than us. Is that why I'm here on the radio, to remind you about that? I'm grateful for it. But I'm hoping that you're listening.
You're bigger than the issues that you're going through, man. You're bigger than your tribulation. You're bigger than I can't. You're bigger than, oh my God, I keep using these butane cans. You're bigger than that. You're bigger than domestic violence. You're bigger than murders. You call for more than that. We live in paradise. We live in one of the most beautiful places on earth. One of the most gorgeous places on earth. And we're consumed with the tribulation of the day. We've put everything aside and consumed ourselves with worry and forgotten who we are and seek to forget it with alcoholism, with sex, with drink, with smoke, with drugs. We seek to forget who we are because of the pain of the reality that we live in. But we could change that. I believe with my whole heart we could change that. I don't know where you are, but this is where I am. Let me take this quick commercial break, ladies and gentlemen, and when we get back, I want you guys to give me a call. Tell me where your mind and heart is as we continue to be able to talk about these things. We consume with politics, man. We consume with it. It's time for us to be able to make a change for the better. And I don't necessarily believe that change will come through politics. Quick commercial break. Be right back after this.
Foundation.
The Foundation. We'll be back right after this.
The foundation. The foundation.
Struggling to repay your loan? Let us help you get back on track with payment terms that suits your financial situation and improve your credit score and credit report with the Bahamas Credit Bureau. Inquire about our restructured loans today. Call us at 356-64.
The Grand Bahama News is available every Tuesday in the Nassau Guardian. Buy your local paper at convenience stores, Western Bakery, De Gregory's Fine Foods, and Bellevue Gifts. Want to reach Grand Bahama customers? Then call Barefoot Marketing at 827-4578 or message them for ad rates via their Facebook page. Advertising opportunities now include classified ads too. Keep up with all the latest Grand Bahama news in the Nassau Guardian newspaper every Tuesday. You've tried everything. ASUS with your mother's cousin's sister's auntie, and even hiding your money under your mattress. Is your money safe? Your Bahamian dollar deposit in a member bank or credit union is insured up to $50,000. If anything happens, your deposit up to the insured value will be returned to you thanks to Deposit Insurance. Visit Deposit Insurance Corporation at www.dic.bs.
Protection for your money guaranteed with DIC.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Let me ask you a few questions. What's your name?
Pam.
Favorite food?
Steak.
Beer or wine?
Wine.
Is your money safe?
It's under my bed, so I guess so.
Are you serious?
Yeah, why?
Unless your money is in a bank or credit union that's a member of the Deposit Insurance Corporation, there's no guarantee it's safe.
Yeah, but what if something happens to the bank?
Your Bahamian dollar deposits are insured up to $50,000, so you'd still be ahead. Plus, your mattress might catch fire. Then what?
Man, those banks and credit unions are looking good right about now.
Visit the DIC's website at www.dic.bs. Protection for your money guaranteed. with DIC.
Guardian Radio and the Foundation are on the move.
Bahamas, this one's for you.
SBT, Small Business Thursdays. Every Thursday, the Foundation with Howard Grant will highlight small businesses throughout the country, far and wide. Your products, services, prices, and personality. We want to hear it all. Get your 30 or 60-second advertisement heard on air at a fraction of the cost. We here at the Foundation understand the times and don't want you to be left behind. With Guardian Radio, you reach your specific demographic, and it is unmatched.
We reach thousands daily.
Get your products off the shelf and your services in their hearts. Small Business Thursdays with the Foundation, only on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. For more information, call 302-2300 or the Help Me Howard line at 827-0111. SBT, Small Business Thursdays. Get your business moving today.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant and your company, The Foundation, on this beautiful, absolutely gorgeous Tuesday afternoon, live and in full effect, November 7th, out here talking everything to do with politics, everything to do with our position, our conviction, our whether or not there's enough introspection, whether or not we've given up on this sort of an idea of growth and development beyond, have we yielded our autonomy at the feet of these people to make decisions for us whilst they are impoverished? Why? And can I say that? Is it difficult to say that? I don't know. I mean, does a couple dollars make you wealthy? I think poverty is a mindset, and a mindset that many of us are, I think subconsciously we fed this. And so as we get education, we seek to climb out of this hole. A lot of these men and women in politics today are seeking to climb out of the hole of poverty. Out of the hole of poverty. Not necessarily from a financial standpoint, from the mindset standpoint. And I think a lot of them are still, maybe that's where the gravelicious nature is. This kind of an all for me baby concept is because of the fear of ever going back. I will never go back. I don't ever want to go back. And if that means a little unethical behavior to kind of shave something off and put something in my pocket, then, you know, it is what it is. And this is the autonomy. We give our autonomy, the sovereignty of who we are as a people. We usher it at their feet and say, do something with this, multiply this. It's bananas. Lines are open, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Anywhere from the Family Violence 242-300, 5720. Hit me up, 422-4796. Telephone caller on the line. Caller on the line with us live. Go ahead. Go ahead, caller. Is that a caller? Go ahead, caller.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Howard. You know, you hit the nail on the head. We've taken a people that used to work together, and you can still see some remnants of it on some of the family islands.
Yeah.
Where all the citizens now work together.
Yeah.
Let a fire happen, God forbid, in West End. PLP and F&M will come out of their house to put it out.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
Absolutely.
But what we did, especially in the capital, is the richest country in the hemisphere, according to the IDB and the World Bank. Sorry, IMF and the World Bank. Mm-hmm. And I have statistics to prove it. We couldn't have these people in the Bahamas richer than the Canadian and Americans who bed they was making and drinks and food they were serving. Mm-hmm. God forbid. So what do? Lent a bunch of money. And some of it went some places and some of it went to worse places. But the people who borrowed the money were not responsible for paying it back. So they had to come up with a scheme. Let me put a yellow shirt on Graham and a red shirt on Howard. Get him to fight his neighbor. And let me tell you, we will fight worse over red and yellow than even black and white.
Mm-hmm.
Use the old F&M and your house burning. Let it burn. And so while dividing the people equally and having maybe 11% of the independent thinkers like you and myself that we call swing voters, we don't swing, we can think. And we can see, and I've said it to you before, I'm going to drive it home, that the yellow and red men say they love you, but after 50 years, how is Freeport looking? And they've each had over about 20 years each. You got a hospital, you got an airport, you got the hospital, you got the hotel done. What you got? Besides some wrinkle-up roads and potholes if you're not in the city. Isn't that pathetic?
Absolutely.
See, we need a live debate with Howard emceeing and us, the people, calling in for every candidate that wants to run in West End. So the nation can ask them to run on their record. But, I'm glad just before Christmas, the good people of West End are going to get some tings. Finally. But nothing in January. And one guy said he ain't even get your fridge or a stove. But what, if you ain't got nothing for me before election, what you got after? But, it's humorous, right, Howard?
Absolutely.
You hit the nail on the head when you said they divided us and conquered us. The day that the people can wake up and say, I'm burning my yellow and red shirt in the same pile, and we're going to network, not against, but to make sure the people that want to rule us do it properly. But that'll never happen. See, because you're a Dolphin fan, and I was with Texas. And we die hard. We get bang on the table. We get scream and yell at the TV. But the problem is when you yelling and screaming at that football game, Tom Brady don't even know you.
No.
And he wouldn't even take you to dinner.
Wow.
And that's what happens. We yell and scream and go on float parades and all kind of craziness for our party. But after they win, well, if Freeport is serious, they will run one of their own, and they will elect independent men. And when I say independent, I don't mean part of no party. Because that's a man from there, and he know in the road they got when the light off, when you can't open a clinic after 30 years, and all the other rubbish. The last thing West End got was that hardwood in the stadium from the great Obadiah Wilstrom. That's the last thing they got. Tell me 10 things they got. And you from there, tell me 5 things that West End got in your whole lifespan, Howard. Nothing.
I can't do it. I appreciate your call, my brother.
Yeah, I rebuke it. And as I've told you before, I reject that from my people. Have a good one.
Thank you so much for that. Right. One thing that popped out to me is when he said, if there's a fire in West End, right? Now, y'all don't know this. The other night, I saw Lincoln. I was watching his stuff, right? Lincoln Bain. And, he got a good little contingent of cars going down to West Grand, Bahama, and Bimini. And I got a couple calls. How were you watching this? Oh, my God. The people call me, excited, right? I told you I patiently waited to hear someone cuss him because I know 8 Mile people, right? So I'm decent as possible as I'm watching this. But not with the anticipation that something negative would happen, but whether or not the identity of the community has changed. So as I'm watching this, someone calls me and says, how are you watching this? Oh, my God, look at this. The cars, oh, my God, you think Lincoln can win this? So I said, let me explain something to you. I live in 8 Mile Rock. We live in 8 Mile Rock. I said, and island people have become so in tune with the different sirens and the sounds and frequency. I know if it's a police car, I know if it's an ambulance, and I know if it's a fire truck. Now, when it comes to the ambulance, we don't get in people business, right? Out island people in the still of the night, if there's an ambulance flying through or in the still of the day, and you hear the dog scream, woo, we said, oh my God, I hope everything is all right. Because we're spiritual and we are, superstitious. All right, don't fight us. That's just what it is. It's the community I grew up in. But when there's a fire truck coming from, whether it's 8 Mile Rock or coming through Freeport, they used to have a fire truck place in 8 Mile Rock, but it's not there anymore. And you're going to West End, let me tell you what you have. You also have a motorcade. Because there are cars that'll be following that. This is how I grew up. There are cars that will be following that fire truck to see what happened, who house that is, what's going on. I only say that to tell you that whether or not this is boredom, whether or not this is the rhythm of the community, this is what happens in the communities. And sometimes we get so far and detached from understanding the nature of the community that you come from, that you believe and you create a standard, just like we were talking about with Mr. Ricardo Luna. The standard is you are poor if you don't see things through our lens based upon our exposure and experiences. But many persons don't see it like that. Many persons don't see it like that. This by-election is peculiar to me. And not only that, politics seems to be taking a fourth turning in our country. That the cycle, the cyclical, the cycle, the century, the time expanded in politics has shifted some things. The other day we had a conversation about Robin Lyons in her pursuit for the chairman position within the Progressive Liberal Party. And I was absolutely convinced after sitting in that posture and working as I think she's either she's a vice, I think she's in a vice chairman capacity. After sitting in that posture for a long time and then accompanying her move with sort of the words that I've heard Fred Mitchell say, to talk about youth and the transition of what needs to happen in giving youth an opportunity, and how he spoke with such passion about Kingsley Smith, and how he's taken on this kind of a posture and position to identify that there should be a changing of the guards. This is sort of his posture. This is what he's been saying for the past 3-4 weeks or so, right? And I don't know whether or not he was just being able to pontificate to ensure that, there's significant support for Kingsley Smith. But I accompanied that across the party. For him to be able to speak like this, there should be significant transition. And then you see Robin Lyons pop up to say that she's going to be able to move as chairman. And I was absolutely convinced that the only reason to see Fred Mitchell jump back into the race or even put his name forward in the race was because Shane Gibson is going to be an upsetter. So I'm looking at it. Shane Gibson steps back. He supports Kingsley. He said, we're all a party. And now you look in the newspaper, and this is blowing my mind. Now you look in the newspaper, and the prime minister, who is the head of the organization, prime minister said, Lyons doesn't have my support for chairman. And this is just some information out there. This is in the Tribune paper. So it says, Prime Minister Philip Brave Davis last night said that he was surprised when former Senator Robin Lyons decided to run for chairman of the PLP. I think that is absolutely bananas. That blowing my mind. It is. Listen to me. Poof, mind blown. My mind is absolutely blown that the Prime Minister, the head of the PLP, could say that he was surprised when Robin Lyons, a loyal, faithful servant of the Progressive Liberal Party, stated that she wants to be able to run for a chairman capacity. Your aspirations don't even exist unless and until you run it through the filter of the organization. You have to at least ask 4 people. Well, you think I will run for this thing? And based upon your inquisition and your pursuit for information, that has to get back to the leader's ears. And then the leader will give you his thoughts on that. Well, if you want to go, tell her if she won't go, she can go. That's fine. No problem. Or tell her don't bother with that right now. And so you know how to mount a campaign based upon the feedback. This is traditional politics in this country. And when I saw Robin Lyons come, I was assured that she went through the proper protocol and the filter of the organization to identify whether or not she should even present. And the only upsetting thing was that Shane Gibson stepped back. And that is why I said, okay, so you can't leave it open too wide. The only time we could be able to see some things happen, maybe maybe Fred Mitchell's going to step back on the floor of the convention. But to see that the Prime Minister says that you don't have my support, she doesn't have my support, it's an amazing thing. But then it also tells a tale on what's happening in West Grand Bahama and Bimini. And the tale is that the PLP has lost significant support in West Grand Bahama and Bimini, which is a microcosm of politics in the country. And to retain who can be arguably one of your best chairmen, especially for this time and date and era that we live in, to retain him in this position, you are afraid of getting into 2026. Commercial break, be right back after this.
The foundation.
You've tried everything. ASUS with your mother's cousin's sister's auntie, and even hiding your money under your mattress. But is your money safe? Your Bahamian dollar deposit in a member bank or credit union is insured up to $50,000. If anything happens, your deposit up to the insured value will be returned to you thanks to Deposit Insurance. Visit Deposit Insurance Corporation at www.dic.bs.
Protection for your money guaranteed with DIC.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Foundation. Foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Give me a call, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Anywhere from the family of islands, 242-300-5720. Hit me up, 422-4796. Listen to me. These things are changing. I don't understand what it is. We're becoming divided as a people. Even your political organizations are divided. I didn't have any allegiance in the organization. When they tell me Howard step back, the Prime Minister or the leader won't go with Carl Culmer, I say, I don't even have strategic position in the organization that you would ever remember me. My defiance is the only thing that'll cause you to remember me from a political standpoint. So I have to defy this sort of an idea or order simply because in due time and due season, when it comes time to even think about me, it has to be with that kind of, that approach, that conviction to stand on what he believes. He's articulate, he's smart, he can stand on what he believes, and then you have to make a determination if you can use him for the time and the era. But that's the only reason. Robin Lyons doesn't have that issue. Robin Lyons' issue was she already in the party. She is a voting delegate. Howard Grant wasn't in the Council of the Free National Movement. I had no affiliation. I wasn't a voting member or voting delegate in the organization, and still not. If I was in the confines of the organization and they say, Howard, step back, I promise you, I would have stepped. You wouldn't even know. You would have no idea. I would have stepped back. Because at least my proximity to the council gave me an opportunity to climb in the organization. If I'm in the outside screaming in, yelling in, looking in, I need to posture and position myself to get in. That's not Robin Lyons' issue. Robin Lyons' issue is that she's already been there. She's been in the party. Why defy now? What's changing in politics? Something's happening. And why does leadership, the helm of leadership, the leader, the prime minister, and the leader of your organization need to say, I do not support Robin Lyons? Is there a fear that she could actually win this? Or, like a texter just said, come on, Howard, let's be real. Let's be real, Howard. Philip Brave Davis only said that because Shane said that he's backing Lyons to get rid of the current chairman. Is that what it is? This is bananas. This is absolutely bananas what we're seeing happening here. There's a lot of things happening in politics in this country. There's a lot of shifts happening. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of moving parts in politics. But some of these things are unfamiliar to me. And I don't know whether or not this is youth involvement. I don't know if this is this kind of a novice, naive approach to politics. I don't know whether or not this is sheer defiance to the rhythm of how politics existed with an expectation of change. But this is unfamiliar territory. It's unfamiliar. And so all of us wait with bated breath. We wait and anticipate whether or not this would happen for growth and development. The next general election of the Bahamas is going to blow your mind. I believe that. I believe that. I believe that there is an awakening in our society to understand the strength that we have as a people. The autonomy that we have should not be given to fickle men and women who are unsure about their own survival, that lack stability, that lack an anchor, that lack conviction, that lack faith, that seem to be pliable with concepts and ideas that are introduced to them from all over the world just to comply and give a debt for nature swap. We give up our debt. You can give us some money? We'll change our idea on that. Yeah, man, we could convince people on this. Debt for nature swap. We're going to have a very clear conversation about the lines are open. Let me take a telephone call. Caller on the line with us. Somebody just text and say lines for PM. This is wild. Caller on the line with us live. Go ahead.
Howard.
Hey.
What's happening, my brother?
All is well. What you say?
Right here, boy. You're so right. You said something that is so on point, and that is, I believe if this by-election is any indication of what can be perceived as to what's up ahead, I think this next upcoming general election is going to be a very extremely interesting one. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of the antics that a lot of the old politicians have been using are now out in the open light. Mm-hmm. It discusses a lot of persons, whether new or old, through the political process. Mm-hmm. And as long as they keep playing these political games, thinking that only they know what's going on and the people out here do not see what's going on, then they're in for a very rude awakening. I think Philip Brave Davis is actually missing a golden opportunity to show progressiveness in the progressive liberal party.
You ain't got time to show progressiveness. See, okay. Listen. When you are ahead, you could freestyle. You could wheelie your bike. You could pop. You could do all these things. It's almost like you're in celebration. You could take a chance. You could take a chance like the hare and the tortoise. You could take a chance. You may even sleep under a tree. But consistency, determination, this relentless push, whilst you're sleeping, they on your heel, baby. And that is what's happening in our country right now. The PLP know that they cannot go to sleep because they will never see the general election again. And you know what? Let's just be very clear about this, Jeff. Let's be clear about this. If the PLP lose the next general election, they may not be in for another 10 years after. Because the country is changing. It's evolving. And if the PLP going to have to go back again into their bag and change up everything and all the players again, and the people are not convinced that they're committed to doing this. Talk to me about it.
Well, Howard, you are absolutely correct. The climate is changing in this country, regardless of whether we like it or not. The thing is now, what I was hinging on to is that the party is supposed to be progressive. That's the principal word in their party's name, progressive. And if you're going to deny or retard persons from trying to elevate themselves in the process through a democratic means, and I'm now going to infer to the matter with Senator Robin Lyons, and any young person in the party who wants to go up against the giant in the party or giants in the party that has held the helm for quite a long time, then how do you expect the party itself, after you would have left the scene, to continue to exist? You have to allow these persons their fair chance to elevate. I'm getting to the point now where I'm hearing through the cracks of the party that this one is told to sit back, the next one is told to stand down, the next one is told this is not your time, and so on and so forth. It is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. That is not democracy. Mm-hmm. You have to allow these young people, and I'm going to tell you, it reminds me of the story about the old lion and the young lion, and the old lion figuring that he's going to be there until thy kingdom come. But the young lion is going to then challenge, because you're forcing them now to challenge for that which they want. These guys have got to realize that their time is numbered. They don't have much longer on the scene. Are they going to help build the party to a stronger level, utilizing the young people for once, not just through rhetoric, but allowing them to advance themselves? Or are you going to keep on retarding them by telling them it's not your time?
Wow.
That is exactly what is being projected out here in the old domain with the Progressive Liberal Party.
Wow. Well, Jeff, I appreciate your telephone call. I thank you so much for being able to do that and put everything on the table like that. I agree with what you're saying. I've just come to a very clear understanding within myself that democracy is a facade. It's not real. Democracy, from a political standpoint in our country, is not real. Even the choices that we get to be able to choose between FNM and PLP, the FNM has identified who will go forward. The PLP is identified who will go forward. That's not democratic. That's just chance. From a statistical standpoint, one of these persons should win. That's it. And you make a determination who's the best person to put forward. There's no democracy that exists within the organization enough to say that I believe the best candidate came forward. There's a text that came through. It says, Robin Lyons is the national deputy chairman of the PLP. She filled in for Mitchell and went to all the events. It says, of course, she spoke with the prime minister. This is a text that's coming through. It says, Fred is just running scared. Let me take a next telephone call before we get out of here. Go ahead, caller. Go ahead, caller.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, Mr. Grant.
What's happening, brother?
Yeah, I listened to you. I like that last monologue, and so, I had listened to Miss Lyons when she was on, and I love the lady. I love what she was saying because it was aphoristic. It was truthful what she's saying. But yes, what my main message is, I'm very upset and against the fervor that the being maybe shown towards politicians and politics. It's like they so absorbed into this BS. It's like a finger pointing. It's like an equilibrium, Howard. PLP, FNM. You're not getting anywhere. It's like you see what I'm saying, Howard? It's like they keep committing backcourt violations in this game and they want to never reach the rim. The finger pointing, but may I remind the great PM, right? Who was in the high school chat, right? I would like for the PM, he said he would fix the hospital, but I would just like to remind him that we are still in a health crisis. We are still, people are still waiting years on surgery. And the hospital is in a mess, man. Even the air conditioning system, it's a pathogenic paradise at best. I could prove it. I could prove it, Howard. The place is a disgrace, man. I mean, it's all about being conscious, Mr. Grant. You just said democracy doesn't exist at home and abroad. And I said this many times on the radio, but it's up to people to be conscious of it. And if you're not conscious, it exists.
I appreciate your telephone call, my brother. Thank you so much for your telephone call and being able to put these things down. Guys, it's been a great show. I thank you so very kindly for being able to tune in with us today. I want to say this to you. It says Dr. Miles Monroe once said something like the next generation has to pry the baton from the cold, dead hands of our leaders. When you say cold, dead hands, the first thing pops in my mind is the NRA. You wilding all the way out, right? I just want to be able to do that. Guys, it's a good show. I just wanted to be able to touch some things so we could go deeper than the surface. When they feed us on the surface, this kind of a moss that builds up in society, this sort of the mushrooming of these conversations has nothing to do with the roots of who we are as a people. We're bigger than these issues, and we call for more. We got to contribute, and our autonomy belongs to us for the growth and development of the Bahamas. Forward, upward, onward, together. This is The Foundation, Howard Grant, 96.9 FM radio. Guys, stick it.